Welcome to this classic broadcast from the Wrestling Epicenter archives. This episode features the exclusive interview with the man who is both as big as a boat and quick as a cat, the one and only Sting. The Stinger joined us to discuss his entire career, and we were so honored to have him on. If you like what you hear, please leave a comment and give us a like. And consider subscribing. And now, welcome to the show.
Napster Band!
Thank you to our friends at CampChaos.com for the Napster Bad sketches. That is my opinion of Metallica. I agree with them 100%. Anyway, that was Seek and Destroy leading us in. Sting's WCW theme, his final WCW theme. Daniel, today's the big day.
It is.
How long have people been begging us to do this one?
A hell of a long time. Too long. Far too long. But, you know, we say to everyone, we say, if we say we're going to deliver it, we'll deliver it.
Right.
Things may not always work out and happen, you know, when we plan, but we don't lie.
Right. We try our best to get them in a timely fashion, but sometimes you're dealing with people that have busy schedules.
Exactly. This is the man Sting, former WCW World Champion.
If I'm not mistaken, 9-time WCW champion.
And he's going to hopefully give us a nice long interview, so...
Yep.
What can you do? Except be thankful.
Everybody should be thankful to us because we've been pretty good of late. In terms of bringing in guests, we have Sherry Martel confirmed. We've just...
coming up quite soon.
Yes, we just brought you Ricky Steamboat last week.
Exactly. And before that, Bonnie Steamboat.
Right, who had a lot of comments to say. That was actually picked up by PWInsider.com.
Oh, excellent.
So why don't we get back to the Stinger, the man everybody tuned in to listen to, so we'll shut up and let them hear what they want to hear. But I just have one question for you. It's not Vader time, but it is a time. Do you know what time it is?
School time?
No. It's, well, why don't we just let Sting say it?
It's showtime!
Welcome back to the interactive interview. It is my honor and privilege to present to you Sting. Sting, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
We're doing really great. It's been a long time that we've wanted to have you on, and you are probably the most requested guest that we've ever had.
Wow.
And we've had everybody from Flair to Savage, so.
Wow. Well, would you say the same thing to Ric Flair if you were on the other line?
I didn't say it to him, and I don't think he liked that I didn't say it to him, so.
All right, good, honest answer.
All right, so the first question we have for you is, how have you been, and what have you been up to since your last appearance with TNA?
Wow, that's a general question. I've been really, really good, and I've been really, really busy. I'm busier now with my life than I was, you know, when I was on the road, full-time wrestling. So, just busy with life, being a dad, being a husband, and really involved with my church, and a little bit of wrestling here and there, and I've done a movie based on my life, and so I'm trying to develop a piece of property. There's all kinds of things I'm doing right now.
We'll get into the movie in just a little bit, but we usually go in order, so let's start out with this one. Were you a wrestling fan growing up?
No. When I grew up in Southern California, and although, you know, I have people that are saying that they saw wrestling in the little town that I grew up in, they saw wrestling on TV, and claimed that I was with them watching wrestling, and I'm just finding this is amazing because it's all kind of new information. Don't you remember we were kids, we used to watch, and you know what, I don't remember seeing any wrestling on TV ever, and it wasn't until I got into the competitive bodybuilding scene at about age 21, and then co-owned a Gold's Gym in Southern California, and then this guy named Terry Bollea used to come in the gym to work out.
Yes.
Some of the people would freak out. You know who that is? And I didn't know.
Oh.
And then they'd say, you know, that's Hulk Hogan. Yeah, he's the pro wrestler, and you know, I knew him from the Rocky movie, but I didn't know anything about the wrestling part of it. So, for whatever reason, I was oblivious to it. So, you know, I didn't watch.
Where did you go for your in-ring training?
I went to Red Bastien. He's do you know of Red?
Yes, I do.
Well, yeah, Red Bastien had a camp in Northridge that I went to. It was the one and only time that he had a camp, a wrestling camp, and I went through his camp for 3 months, and then got myself booked with Jerry Jarrett.
Mm-hmm. In our interview with Larry Zbyszko, he said that you, quote, stole the name of a rock star guy. Where did the name Sting actually come from?
You know what? I think based on, what I thought my style was in the ring, and actually it was Stinger.
Right.
And people just called me Sting. And that's just kind of the way it happened. It was either or. It was Sting or Stinger, and yes, I knew of the singer. He was with the Police then and all that.
Right.
And I don't believe that it would be a copy.
Right.
So.
Early in your career, you teamed with the Ultimate Warrior. But what are your thoughts on Mr. Warrior today?
Well, he was definitely on the cutting edge when we started. He had a build, a physique that was, not many guys looked quite like him. And he was a real intense kind of a guy. The way he looked physically is the way he was even mentally,
Right.
And just different philosophies on wrestling and different philosophies on life. That he just, he looked at things in a completely different way than I did. So, but he made his name and found a niche for himself there for a little bit, and I'm happy for him.
Of course, you won the UWF tag titles with him, but you also won the AWF tag titles with a guy we've lost in the past 10 years, Eddie Gilbert. What are your memories of Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert?
Eddie taught us a lot in the beginning, He really worked with us a lot, tried to teach us a lot of the psychology and timing of the moves and when to talk, when not to talk, and how to do it. He taught us an awful lot, really. And I actually started to learn a lot more and at an accelerated speed after Hellwig and I split off. He went to World Class, and I stayed with the UWF.
Right.
And I started to really, pick things up at that point.
It was your 45-minute draw with Ric Flair that seemed to break you open into the business for the mainstream. What are your memories of that match, and what are your opinions on Ric Flair? I know that's a pretty big question.
Yeah, and I've been vocal about that for years, and I acknowledge the fact and give Ric so much credit.
Right.
And I love the guy, and he had a choice to either make me or break me or just make me look mediocre, and he chose to make me look really good. And I think that he just felt that there was a chemistry there, and he had the ability to see beyond what I could see, and so I just followed his lead, and he kind of took me under his wing a little bit and really showed me the ropes and taught me a lot. That's when talk about learning.
Right.
Man, in the first 12 months that I was in storyline and in matches with Ric Flair, that first 12 months I learned more. I mean, it was unbelievable. I was light years ahead of where I was in a quick period of time, and it was all because of Ric. And so I give him all the credit in the world, and I have all the respect in the world for him. And what do I think about him? I mean, I'll always have a soft spot, in my heart for Ric Flair, and I think that he's a breed set apart from anyone. I don't know how he does it, man. He's still going, still taking bumps, still doing a lot of his signature moves, and he still has charisma and still has a following, and he has, talk about longevity. Wow.
Did you read his book?
No.
No, I have not read it. Okay. Of all your matches with Ric, what would you say your favorite was? I know that's a question coming in from the forums from our listener, Poncho Jones.
Yeah, I can't. There's no way for me to say that one match. It would have to be between a couple of matches. It would be the one that we just talked about,
right?
The Clash of Champions, or the Great American Bash in Baltimore, Maryland. And after I had come off of 5 months out with knee and major reconstructive surgery and all that, so I would say one of those two matches. and it's tough to say which one.
You just mentioned the major reconstructive surgery. Exactly what happened with the cage? Because I had seen it, but I was a little confused on exactly how you got injured.
Well, I had, you know, how in wrestling when you just a lot of times it's just hurry up and wait.
Right.
You know, especially TV taping, you can get out in the ring and you can do something, and your joints and your muscles, you're warmed up and loose and ready to go, and then you go back and you sit sometimes for hours. And, you know, you got to stay limber and you got to stay stretched and all that. And probably a week or two earlier, I did a move with Lex Luger in Greensboro again, as a matter of fact. And I landed wrong, and I felt something kind of go in my knee, and I thought, wow, you know. So I ended up taking some anti-inflammatories.
Yes.
And the anti-inflammatories worked great. I didn't hardly feel any pain at all. And by the time I got to Corpus Christi a couple weeks later, I was cold and not warmed up and in a pair of cowboy boots and street clothes. And I was supposed to run down the aisle and climb over, you know, the tubed cage. It wasn't like a chain link fence type of deal. It was a different kind of a cage. But I was supposed to climb over this thing, and I just ran to jump, and I remember Doug Dillinger, and it seemed like a couple other guys possibly there, and kind of holding me down. And just as I jumped, I just felt something snap, and I literally thought that a fan took a bat or a pipe and whacked me in the knee as I went by. And I looked back and saw that it was impossible, that nobody could have done that. And then I reached down and felt my knee and realized, you know, I knew exactly what it was. It's amazing, because I ended up hobbling down on the floor and telling Dillinger and Wahoo and some of the other guys that were there that my patella tendon was severed, and you know, and I was totally, you know, helpless pretty much. So I was hobbling around on one leg, and you know, Rick, I think, was confused and thought that I was confused, so he climbed back over the cage and started coming at me, and I told Wahoo and everybody, I said, keep him away from me because my knee is gone. And he jumped on me 2 times, and you know, and from the knee down, it was just like my leg was going in like a 360, you know. It was kind of hideous to think about, really. But
Joe Theismann kind of.
Tendon was severed in half, and that's what it was.
That's nothing like what Sid went through, is it?
No, Sid actually broke a bone.
Right.
After your injury, you feuded with Lex Luger. But what's your opinion of Lex?
Well, I think Lex is trying to come back and trying to, you know, repair a lot of damage in his life, you know.
Right.
And a lot of stuff. He's been through a lot. And you know, I'm there for him, and he knows that, and I would make myself available at, you know, the drop of a hat, and he knows that it's a phone call away, anything that I could ever do, and he knows that, and I've made it very clear to him. And he's trying, you know, but he's still on the mend.
Right. What is your opinion of the whole Elizabeth thing? I know we had Jake Roberts on, and he was not exactly compassionate about it. So,
well, first question is Jake compassionate about anything or anyone? I have not heard one compassionate statement come out of his mouth, and you know, I don't know how long.
Right.
So,
yeah, I guess that kind of answered the question right there.
Yeah. Anyway, and you know what? I care for Jake too, but you know, he just every time I read about the guy, he just seems to blast everybody, including me. So. Yeah,
he always seems to have his foot in his mouth somewhere.
Yeah, but that's okay. What was the original question now?
What was, actually, you answered it. You answered it sufficiently. The next question I have for you is, what are your memories of working Ravishing Rick Rude?
I have good memories of working with Rick. We had some really good matches, and I just think that Rick was one of those kind of guys that had the ability to do what his job was really well. And, you know, if he was, you know, supposed to try to make people hate him, he did a good job of it. He was able to do that.
How about one of the guys that Harley Race called a pain in the butt? How about Big Van Vader?
I had great matches with Van Vader. I used to love working with the big guys, and you know, he was difficult in the beginning. I think that I was, you know, probably solely responsible for taming him because he was just, you know, coming out of Japan full time, and you know, he had this Japanese style, and he was, you know, he outweighed me by 200 pounds. So, you know, 180 or whatever, but we had good matches. We ended up getting a pretty good chemistry and pretty good timing and, you know, decent storylines, and so I enjoyed working with him, really.
In your time at WCW, you saw a lot of different bosses come and go. Were there any bosses that you disagreed with the direction of?
Well, probably most of them, because you know, if you think about it, we were, you know, a wrestling organization, you know, owned by the Crockett's and Dusty Rhodes and
Right.
Ric Flair and all those kind of guys sort of running the show and the creative part of it and the writing and all that. And so it was wrestlers that produced the TV show. And then when we got involved with Turner, it flip-flopped, and all of a sudden the suits were producing wrestling. And it took a long time for the dust to settle. And, you know, we had guys put in that CEO position that really had nothing to do with wrestling and didn't even understand it. And, you know, from attorneys to, you know, Pizza Hut guys. I mean, it's like, can we get somebody who loves wrestling and cares about wrestling to run this company?
Right.
You know, not a friend of a friend of a friend and then part of the Turner family and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And really, it wasn't until Eric Bischoff came in.
Right.
That's, in my opinion, and, you know, Eric has heat with so many people, but you know what? I was with him. You know, pretty hands-on, and we had a really good working relationship, and, you know, I watched him. I watched the way he operated in the beginning, and I give him buku amounts of credit because, you know, the Nitro show that he developed.
Did you think that was going to work?
Nitro?
Yeah, going head-to-head with the WWF.
Yeah, man, I felt really good about it. I mean, you know, I put it this way: I thought that there was a light at the end of the tunnel for the first time ever.
Wow. One of the other things Eric Bischoff did, he brought in a lot of the WWF guys that were available at the time. Early on, it was Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. Did you feel that when those guys were brought in that they were going to take your spot or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, and they did. Yeah, when Hulk Hogan came in, you know, it was Sting step aside, and, you know, and that's the way it was. But you know what, I was okay with that because it was Hulk Hogan. You know, I mean, yeah, I worked hard, and yeah, I carried the WCW banner all those years, and, you know, worked hard. I never left and always stayed, and the flagship, whatever they thought of me as.
Right.
But Hulk Hogan was Hulk Hogan. I mean, let's face it, you know. He had gone beyond what I ever did at that particular time. And so I was, you know, I took that. It wasn't like it was a cakewalk for me to take it, but I did. And then when Savage came in, you know, it was, oh, Savage is here, step aside again. And that one I had a little bit more of a struggle with.
Right. How do you get along with Randy?
Well, you know, it's been obviously years now since I've seen him, but, you know, while we were working together and all that, we got along pretty good. I mean, I think, you know, we all had our whoop-de-doos, our ups and downs along the way.
Right.
You know, where, you know, we disagreed or whatever, but for the most part, I get along with Randy.
Right. All right. When most people think of Hulk Hogan and WCW, they remember the Hollywood character. The Hollywood character obviously feuded with Sting a lot, but Hogan has been quoted many times over the years saying that a lot of the WCW guys backstage were not happy with the NWO's popularity. Were you one of the people that were unhappy that the quote-unquote bad guys were getting cheered?
No.
No?
I wanted to see, I wanted to be not a second-class citizen.
Right.
So when the NWO was born, I remember Kevin and Scott they shot, one of the first little vignettes that they'd ever shot, and I think we were in Orlando, and man, they showed that thing, and in the studio, and Eric was there, and I watched it, and I went, wow. I mean, I knew that our company was changing, wrestling was changing, and I knew that they were on the right track, and I knew that I had to get on the right track too.
Right.
I knew at that point, and Kevin remembers this. He told me in later years. He told me that day. He said, "You looked at me and said something like, wow, now what am I going to do?" So that was what really started my gears turning on how I was going to change and adapt.
You'd done the Crow type of character at around this time, but did you have any reservations about doing it?
No, I won't say that it wasn't a little bit scary, but no, I didn't have any reservations on it because wrestling was changing and the fans were changing. The NWO was born, and I also had lots of experience with Hulk being his tag team partner, and when he was still red and yellow, and
right.
and I was still had my colors and all that, and we were the first time we ever tagged. I remember going to San Francisco, and man, Hulk, he got. This is me stepping aside for him. I made, the bad guys, the heels went to the ring first, and then I went to the ring next, and then Hulk made the grand entrance last,
right.
And he got just booed out of the building. And then it happened quite a few times after that, and I think that's what, he realized it was time for him to change, and I knew that time was coming for me too. It was definitely going to hit. So
right.
I was okay with it. I wanted to try something, more cutting edge.
And one of the cutting edge things that WCW introduced that and ended up in tragedy eventually was the rafter drop. Were you trained for the rafter drop?
Was I what?
Trained for the rafter drop.
Well, my training happened the very first day that I did it, which was Chicago at the United Center. And we had a couple stunt guys there working with me, and I rappelled 4 times earlier in the day to, kind of practice and get ready for it, and I actually did some rappelling with the same stunt guy out here in California, off of some cliffs and rocks, practicing and getting ready. But the United Center, it was 297 feet. That thing, that was so high that when we were up there, trying to talk to the guys on the ground earlier in the day, they couldn't hear us. We had to talk with the walkie-talkies. So it was high, and I was having a tough time with it. It wasn't working very well, and it was like, I came back and said, "Eric, I can't do this." And he says, "What do you mean?" I said, "I can't. I tried it 4 times. It's just, it's not working very good." I was spinning. I kept spinning real bad. And the stunt guy that we used kept assuring me that the reason why I was doing it is because I wasn't just sliding fast enough down the rope. I was sort of, crimping with my hand, and because it's scary, man.
Right. Absolutely.
He said, "Look, if you just go down at one speed, and just control your speed on the way down, but just go down a little faster, you're not going to spin." So, the only other chance that I'd have to try it again would be live.
Right.
And I knew that it was, make or break. If I ended up spinning, I knew that was going to be the end of the career, and, the laughing stock, and it would have been over.
Right.
So,
having done it, do you see how the tragedy happened with Owen?
This is a tough thing for me to comment on. I don't know what happened up there, but I can tell you this. I've heard what happened up there, and I don't even want to say. But the night that we did it in Chicago at the United Center, it was as hairy as can possibly be. The cue comes, and the crowd is as loud as you can imagine, and the sound just travels up. It's deafening. And then, we're talking to each other, and then you're screaming at each other up there. The pyro's going off, the lights, and some of you can't even think straight. And you can't even hear yourself think. That's how chaotic it is up there. And then I stepped over, and when I stepped over, we had things set up backwards. So while I was standing on the edge, we had to flip the rope around and reweave it through. And I'm telling you, it was like if I'd have stepped over and done it, the same thing would have happened. So you know, it was scary, and we did it a couple of different ways, and it didn't matter which way of the two that we did it, it was always scary.
Your memories of the biggest match in the history of WCW, yourself and Hollywood Hogan at Starrcade 97.
You know, that was a really weird time, because I felt the tension of WCW, the whole company. There was huge tension now, and you know, everybody's motives were, you know, they weren't, the creative juices weren't flowing like they were, because everybody was worried about themselves, and you know, it was, Hulk was struggling with, you know, how he wanted to do it and how he wanted to put me over and all that, and he just sort of, you know, it was like there was a lot of closed doors meetings with him and Eric all the way up until just, you know, not too long before we actually walked into the ring. You know, I kept saying, what's the big deal, man? I mean, I kept talking to Eric saying, what, you know, does he not want to put me over? Does he not want to do it? Or, I mean, does he want to win? I mean, just tell me. I mean, just so I know, you know, just so I know.
Right.
And Eric was trying to be reassuring, and you know, but what he was he'd go to Hulk, and then he'd come back to me, and then he'd go to Hulk, and he'd come back to me, and I'm like,
he was the middleman, almost. Yeah.
Yeah, can't we just, like, you know, talk about this all together and just do business? Whatever the business is going to be, let's just come up with an answer and do it. And you know, I came in and I was ready, even though I hadn't been in the ring, and you know, I was a little rusty, and thinking, you know, I hope I can pull this off, and
right.
You know, and I knew also that the build-up was so big, and, you know, I was worried that the match would not be able to follow the build-up.
Right.
And, of course, you know, in my opinion, it didn't, you know. His knee was real bad, and my personal life was all messed up, so, you know, I'm taking some of the credit, too, for, you know, the way things went, but also there was a mess-up with the count and the referee, and
right.
it's like, what was that all? How could that have failed? Where was the mistake there? You know. So, and then it makes everybody second guess. You know, like, oh, you know, did the referee get paid off or what? You know.
Right.
I mean, I don't believe that happened, but at least I don't want to believe it. But at the time, you know, when you're going through it, your mind just starts going everywhere, and you're thinking, what is going on here, man? I mean, why can't this just be like it was, easy and fun? You know?
Right.
I mean, for everybody, because everybody was having fun, you know?
Is that what happened in WCW? Did it ultimately become more like that, more out of control, and more everybody for themselves?
Yeah. I really believe that. And, you know, the one thing that I learned, you know, in life, period, but especially in wrestling, that if the wheel is not broken, don't try to fix it.
Right.
You can always keep on improving and adapting, but don't try to just, like, totally repair and fix something that's already working, and that's what we did.
Right. What is your opinion of the Wolfpack, the Red and Black? Did you enjoy being a part of that?
Yeah, you know, that was fun. We had a good time doing that, and you know, the crowd really did like that. I mean, I think it was kind of an angle that a lot of people looked at as being like kind of like, well, you know, that's all they can think of, kind of a thing. Or, well, you know, they're just going to try to make it look, they're going to repackage it and make it look a little bit different. And you know, that's sort of what happened, but, you know, the fans really, I mean, it seemed like they really dug it, man. I think they really liked it. And you know, if we could have, you know, kept on moving with that somehow, it would have been good. But again, you know, we had everybody looking out for themselves and all these ulterior motives, and you know, backstabbing. It all started to happen.
One of your biggest feuds as a Red and Black Sting was against Bret Hart. Now, how would you compare your matches against Bret versus those you had against Ric Flair?
Well, they can't be compared, really. I mean, you can have technically a phenomenal match with somebody, but if there's not a chemistry,
right,
you know, then, you know, the chemistry and the psychology and, you know, two personalities that just really gel, I mean, it really works, then, you know, you just can't beat that, you know. So I just don't think that they can compare.
Absolutely. I'm not sure if you can want to comment about this. I'm not sure if it's in your movie. I'm sure it probably will be. But when exactly did you find God?
No, I don't mind talking about that at all. It was August of 1998.
And what led up to that? What happened?
Well, it was a lifestyle that I had while being on the road all those years, and that ultimately ended up me, we did our shows, we did our Nitro shows, and ultimately ended up with me drinking and, taking muscle relaxers and painkillers, and then, out of that, just watching every part of my life just get, out of control, not just me and my lifestyle on the road.
Right.
But also just, my job, my career, my marriage, my family. I just felt like I was losing control over everything. I felt like I had control over everything for so long, and then it was just like, all the dirt, it just started to come to the surface, and it bothered me. I couldn't live with it. I couldn't live with myself. Because I was, I had a lifestyle on the road that definitely wasn't pleasing to my wife.
Right.
And, wasn't pleasing to God either, so.
Absolutely.
I knew that, at that particular time in my life, I knew that, there wasn't a big pay-per-view or a big paycheck or a big contract for a psychologist or, any kind of power. I knew that there was nothing that was going to be able to fix it, and I actually believed in my heart that, the only way for me to be fixed would be to have something supernatural happen. And, I'm not talking, close encounters of a third kind or something weird, I'm talking about something supernatural that our Maker, what I believe is our Maker, and it's God.
Absolutely.
And until Jesus Christ entered into my life, and at least that I allowed him to enter in, and that's when things really started to change for me.
When you returned to WCW, actually it was a little while after you returned to WCW, Vince Russo came in and went more for the crash style of TV.
Right.
What did you feel about Vince Russo?
Well, I struggled with him, and I told him that, a few times that I just, we just have different opinions, and the shock and raunch is what Vince McMahon did to salvage his company and try to stay afloat, and it worked because, that's easy. It's just like, you know what the cheap pop is, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It was the cheap pop.
Well, that's what I describe it as too, easy.
It's just easy, every male in America is going to tune in to see, the girls doing the negligee matches and all that, and necrophilia angles, and homosexual angles. They've done anything and everything you can possibly do, and the world is going to turn in. They're going to tune into that. They just are, and that's just unfortunately, that's the way it is. So, being a Ted Turner entity and more family oriented and all that, thankfully we couldn't push the envelope as much as they could, but we still did. But anyway, yeah, I struggled with it. I didn't like it. I didn't agree with it, and I thought, well, this is just the cheap pop, and the cheap pop is cheap.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. In 2000, when Eric Bischoff and Russo returned, they featured you with Vampiro. What was your memories and thoughts of Vampiro?
I'm trying to put it out of my mind.
I take it you weren't a fan of it?
I don't want to say that. And don't think that I'm just, trying to give you all the goody two-shoes answers. I'm not. I don't harbor any bad feelings toward anyone that I ever worked with. I did, while I was going through it sometimes, but Vampiro was tough because I just felt that, they were adding somebody to the company that it was like, the gimmicks, there was this, so close and so, it was obvious, and then he was looking more and more like me as time went on, and then when they put us together, you know, I did things with him and allowed certain things to happen in the storyline. You know, even like a little example would be, you know, refer to me as Steve in this interview. Just say Steve. You know, like you really know me. Like you're getting into my inner psyche. You know, I mean, and let's see if we can come from that angle. I was reaching, man. I was trying to do everything I could to try to make it work, because no matter what I think about him, or no matter what I think about being put in a storyline and an angle with him, the bottom line, I was in it, and I didn't want to, he's a reflection on me, or whether it works or not, it's a reflection on me.
Absolutely.
And I don't remember doing many angles that you know, didn't work, but that one didn't work, and it bothered me.
You seem to disappear in about mid 2000 until the end. Well, actually, let me throw this question to you. What did you think of what they did to Hogan at Bash at the Beach 2000?
Remind me, what was it?
That's when Jeff Jarrett laid down for him, and...
Yeah, I was going to say, that was the Jeff Jarrett thing, yeah. I was just so over it at the time, and just sick of all the crap.
Right.
And I looked at it as just being, you know, more crap that wasn't going to help the company, wasn't going to help anyone. So I just threw my arms up in the air and just said, you know, I'm not even going to worry about it.
The last Nitro you wrestled Ric Flair, did you think that was going to be your last match?
I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. It was emotional for me because I knew that it very well could be the last match ever. And, you know, when you think about how your wrestling career might end, you can never guess, you know. And who would have ever guessed that one, you know. Live simulcast, you know, Cleveland and Panama City, and this is it. And then you got, you know, really it was almost like the enemy, you know. The enemy had come into our camp and held us prisoner.
Right. Is that what it was like backstage?
Well, yeah, it was.
Wow.
I mean, there's just no other way to put it. It just was. I mean, I'm not saying that they were, you know, abusive in any way. I mean, although I heard, you know, a couple stories, but you know, with me, they treated me great. They were nice and polite, you know. Although Shane wanted me to do this interview, and he didn't give it to me, somebody else gave it to me, and I ended up changing it. And I said, you know what, I'm sorry, but I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. And
was it something obscene, or was it just something you didn't want to do?
Oh no, it was nothing obscene. Nothing. It was just too generic, you know.
Right.
And I made it. It was still generic the way I did it, but it would still. I wanted it to send some kind of a message to, you know,
the audience.
Yeah, the hardcore WCW fans, and just, you know.
Right.
After WCW ended, you made a few TNA appearances. What's your thoughts on that company?
I want them to work. You know, I want somebody to succeed out there. A lot of people have tried, and you know, I do believe that, you know, you've got to be a Vince McMahon or a Ted Turner, or somebody that has a huge, gigantic
bankroll.
Yeah, a machine, you know, with buku TV power to be, you know, ultra successful. But you know, I'm hoping that somehow or another that the Jarretts and that whole crew over there, I'm hoping they'll do something. And I have a soft spot in my heart for them because of the fact that Jerry Jarrett gave me my break, and not only did he give me my break, but he also, when he found out how bad Hellwig and I were, how green we were, and he had to get rid of us, he didn't just get rid of us, he placed us. And he put us with, he called Bill Watts for us, and Bill took us, so I thought that was pretty cool, and that's why when they called me to do the first TNA show that I did, you know, I was done with wrestling at the time, and I said no at first, and I thought, you know what, these guys gave me my break, Jerry did, so more than reconsider. I went and did it. So.
Absolutely. I'm sure you're aware of this, but you are one of the most talked about wrestlers on the internet, and there's always a rumor of some kind of return for you going around, and there is one now saying that you're going to return for SmackDown. So, care to take this one?
It's news to me.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a movie coming out. I'm going to be getting a screener's copy of it. I can't wait to see it. What can you tell me about it?
Well, it's my life. It is, it's a movie that was not made for, the big screen. It was, this isn't like a rock movie.
Right.
This is like, this is my life. It's my testimony, really. And it takes place from the time I was a kid all the way up until present day. And I did put the wrestling tights on again. And TNA let us use their ring and some of their audience for some updated shots that we wanted to make it look as though it was around the same time as, the end of my career. And the shots look pretty good. And so we're happy with that and thankful that they let us do that. But it's really what happened to me as time went on, and until August of '98, when I realized that the money and the psychologists and the pay-per-views and the power and all that wasn't going to work anymore, and that I need something supernatural, and it is that, and then the miracles that I have experienced, since then.
Do you think there will be appeal to fans that might not be Christian? I mean, do you think they get something out of it too?
Because we have some authentic footage in there. We've got some, Hogan is in there. I'm wrestling him at that big Starrcade match. There's some footage of that, and there's, some stuff with all the NWO guys, and so there's authentic footage in there, yeah. And the stories of a couple of different reporters at different times in the movie are asking questions. And I'm answering the questions, and as I do, I reflect back, and then we look at the old footage, and then we combine it with the new. So, and it was made to be a tool for youth pastors and anyone that really wants to watch it. But it's Walmart, Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, and family Christian bookstores nationwide. You'll be able to get it there, and you can actually see a small trailer, a 2-minute trailer of the movie if you go to www.sting-themovie.com. You can watch a 2-minute trailer. It'll just give you a taste of what the movie's about.
Excellent, excellent. And if I can throw something in there, I know this is more of a documentary-style movie, but I was a big fan of the movie The Real Reason Men Commit Crimes.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I ordered that on pay-per-view. I love that movie.
Wow. Thank you. That was, that was a long time ago now, it seems, but that was the first thing I ever did, first, movie, independent film. 2 movies that I did, it's funny, because 2 of them that I did were they were pretty much just put on the shelf, and it was both times because of wrestling, and both times it was done in conjunction with wrestling and WCW, and it was because of the synergy between the two. We were going to try to help promote both the movies that I did. One for TNT, Movie of the Week, Shutter Speed, and then the first one, The Real Reason. And both times, something happened, with Eric.
Right.
Eric got mad at the guy that directed it, Judson Vaughn, The Real Reason.
Right.
And he put the brakes on and just put it up on the shelf, and it's just been sitting there ever since. And then the TNT movie is, Eric Bischoff ended up, they let him go. They just got rid of him, and everything that was attached to Eric, they just sort of canned. So, that movie, they aired it 5 or 6 times, and the first time they aired it was a horrible time slot.
I think I saw it at 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning, something like that.
Horrible. And then the last time they showed it, all in 1 week, it was 5 or 6 showings in 1 week. The last one that they showed was on Saturday night at 8 o'clock, and that was the best rating of all. And it was indication, I read in some of the trade magazines that they made a mistake. They should have just put it on, the first time. on a good time slot, on a good night, and just even though WCW was sinking and sinking fast, there was still some synergy there left, and it probably could have done something.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Absolutely. Before we wrap up, can I just throw you a few word associations? Basically, if you have...
I'm so bad at this. I'll do the best I can.
If you have a story, you can feel free to share it. If you just have one word, that works fine too. I mean, it's not a test. Don't worry.
I know. I'm just horrible at these.
All right. First name on the list is Ted DiBiase.
The original Seed.
Scott Steiner.
Freaky Biceps.
How about Rick Steiner?
Oh, man. Friend for life.
How about Ricky Steamboat?
Knew how to sell.
Nick Foley?
Found his niche.
AJ Styles?
Brother in Christ.
That's actually a good name for a tag team.
Brothers in Christ?
Well, you had Brothers in Pain, so...
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ric Flair.
Oh, man. There's so much I could say about Rick. Put me on the map.
Hulk Hogan.
The greatest of all time.
And the final one I have for you... Actually, I'll give you two more. For the second to last one, I know somebody you probably don't know that well, but how about Vince McMahon?
He's a marketing genius.
And the final one I have for you is somebody we lost fairly recently. I have a feeling you were close to him. How about Road Warrior Hawk?
Man, I'll see him in eternity.
Were you close with Hawk?
You know what? Both the Road Warriors, they sort of took me under their wing early in my career when Crockett bought the UWF, and they realized that I was an okay guy, and we would split rooms, and most of the time I stayed with Animal because in those days Hawk was, he was partying there. I mean, heavily, and he was running with a different crowd in those days. But I saw this alone tells me that God is real. The change that I saw in Hawk, and I knew him, back in the day, and then I saw some of the things that he did, the way he treated people, anyone. It didn't matter who they were, wrestling fans. I mean, he was a totally transformed person, and there are some people that will dispute that, but you know what? There's no way you can, because he was a totally different guy.
Absolutely. Well, we can't thank you enough for your time. Everybody listening should check out www.sting/themovie.com. And thank you so much for coming on the show, and we wish you the best of luck with this project.
Thanks for having me.
This is the total package. Lex Luger, you are on the Wrestling Epicenter. Don't get off.
Welcome back to the interactive interview. That was Sting.
Patrick! Nah!
I'm sorry. I'm doing my SpongeBob SquarePants impression for some reason.
Never, ever said it.
Oh, you're not missing much.
Good. It's a brilliant interview.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yes.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where do you begin?
Exactly. I mean, now, if you think about it, and you think carefully, how many interviews has Sting done in the past, since WWE closed?
I've not seen many. I've seen one that was fairly recent, and that's the only one that, and I heard people say that, oh, well, you're not really getting the scoop because of this one, and I don't think they understood what we had in mind.
Exactly. I mean, I thought there was one the other day, but apart from that, it would have been back when Get in the Ring had him on when the WWA was touring.
Uh-huh.
And it's a long time ago. Because he never did anything really when he signed with TNA. He did a couple of interviews for their website. We did one interview for the website.
Yeah, and he did that one with Mike Tenay that they split into like 4 different parts and put on the pay-per-views to keep people buying just to see him.
Yeah.
You know, they really didn't, it was like a mini shoot. I think even if you put all those 4 segments that they did together, it wouldn't add up to near as long as ours was.
Oh, no. Nowhere near at all.
No.
And that's why I thought, because of those 4 segments, it was kind of abrupt during that. I mean, that may just been how, it came out during editing, but it seemed like he was, a tiny bit abrupt.
Right. Like example, they asked the question about the Warrior, and his answer was basically, he's a strange guy. That's kind of what they cut it down to. So.
But, it's nice long answers, really good interview, so we really appreciate it. Sting-themovie.com.
Yep, Sting-themovie.com.
Exactly. It's a good way of putting it, minus sign.
Well, I don't know exactly what you'd call it. I've heard people say slash, but it's not really a slash.
Yeah, I think it's a hyphen.
Yeah.
I think, but again, you say that, not everybody knows what you mean.
Yeah, I know. Every time I hear hyphen, I wonder if it's that slash or the minus sign, so I just might as well say
that. People putting in like Sting Star, the movie, or Sting X, the movie, or something,
Well,
but it's Sting minus sign, the movie.
Well, there's one really easy way to get there.
What's that?
Just go to the website, and our website, theinteractiveinterview.com, and click our link to it. We'll have a link on the news board with the Sting transcript.
Yeah.
And you can just click on the link that says http://www.sting-the-movie or -the-movie.com, and you can see exactly what symbol we're talking about.
Exactly.
And you can also see a 2-minute trailer of the film.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, that's what I was going to say. You can also, in addition to finding out what we're on about, we can also head across to the website itself.
Right. That'd be excellent. And I've seen the 2-minute trailer. It's pretty impressive, and I also am awaiting a editor's copy of the film that they are going to be sending to me, which I much appreciate. So I'll be sure to review this on an upcoming recap when I get it.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I'm not the most religious person in the world. If we're going to get into that topic, I'll just say that I believe in a superior being. I believe to be frank, I believe in Jesus, but I just don't believe... I don't believe it's possible in this day and age to follow everything the Bible states, and that's just the part where I usually get iffy about.
Yeah, fair enough.
Of course, you don't hurt anybody, you don't rape anybody, you don't kill anybody, and of course you don't do anything that in your mind you can feel with your subconscious or your conscious is wrong. But other than that, you can't be afraid to do anything. That's just my opinion.
And this is another opinion based on the reality of the conscience of the copyright show.
Right.
That happens to be the worst trademark thingy ever. So.
Well, we're going to have to do that. We have, for those who don't know, Chris Yandick has been asking to come on the program. And he wants to come on to discuss some issues throughout his 4 years, or more years, I guess now, of doing interviews with people and dealing with everybody inside the business. And from what he's told us, he's got some things to say that some people aren't going to like. So before that interview comes up, I'd have to do something like, the thoughts and views expressed by Chris Yandick do not necessarily reflect those of James and Dan or the interactive interview itself. Blah, 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 blah. We apologize to those who are offended. You're just going to have to do one of those doohickeys.
Yeah, because Chris is the mouth of the South? The mouth of the Middle East.
He's Osama bin Laden.
Yep.
No.
Osama bin Yandick.
Yeah.
I agree.
OBY.
OBY. will be why?
Because I said so.
As he is.
Yeah. Hey, did you happen to see Raw this week?
Maybe.
There was just one line.
And maybe not.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's not till Friday in your time. Did you read the spoilers?
I did, yeah. Just one thing. It now airs on Thursdays over here.
Ah.
You know, so it's one day earlier. But anyway, yeah, but still doesn't mean that it's aired yet.
Right.
It's tomorrow. But, yeah, I read the spoilers.
What'd you think?
It seems like an average show. It seems better than last week. Seems like they got basically everything out of the way in one go. And the Diva search has ended.
Well, yeah, and that means one less pointless segment out of the way.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're happy with that.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'm happy with the outcome, too.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yes,
Your girl won.
Yes, the spicy redhead. I've said that she's the only one that seems to get it out of the bunch since the beginning, and I guess either Vince realized it, or if they did have Carmella down to be the winner, as I suspect, I think the fact that the crowd just about booed her out of the building last week said, there's no way in hell we can possibly make this come off like she actually won a popularity contest. You know?
Yeah.
Right. They might have just said...
She's just been arrested as well, so...
Yeah, and that's a bad PR move.
Oh, yeah. Not half.
Right. And they did everything to try to get her over. They had her beat the living crap out of Coach. And if you beat the crap out of Coach and you still don't get cheered, then you're just not going to make it.
Yeah. But, I suppose, that's now gone.
Yeah.
So,
And plus, this is the thing that I was trying to say, is the next week they're going to have Christy in a segment with Trish Stratus where they throw her some kind of a welcoming party. Now, Christy will do something goofy. You know this. She'll be put in a position and she'll have to ad-lib, and sure, what she'll do probably will be pretty stupid, but at least she's trying something. Carmella would stand there looking confused. The difference is just which one is going to be entertaining. That's all.
Well, we'll soon see. They're there for a year.
Uh-huh.
But then again, same as tough enough people. When they're signed for a year. So...
And Maven's have been there for more than a year now, so
exactly,
well more than a year.
He got resigned, and his contract continued, so we'll see how long we have.
So has Nydia, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly, Nydia, and Jackie Gator.
Jackie Gator, yeah.
Who has just announced her engagement to Charlie Haas. So
in real life?
Yeah, real life. Best of luck to them.
How the hell did that happen?
I don't know, it's a bit of a...
Actually, Charlie...
Together on screen, so.
Charlie seemed to come from a wrestling family. Everybody that I've known that have talked to him has said nothing but nice things about him, so he probably is a good guy.
Exactly.
Congratulations to him.
Exactly, best of luck to them too. But going back to what we were saying about Raw, of course, the Diva search segment is now gone.
Yes.
And along with it went apparently the storyline between Kane and the baby, and Lita and the baby, and Gene Snitsky and the baby.
I had nothing to do with it. It's not my fault. Well, that was just a bad promo, dude. I mean, you sounded like you were reading off cue cards at a 6th grade level. I'm sorry, dude, that just doesn't work.
Maybe he was.
But I'm going to give Eric Clancy, he and I were discussing this topic, okay? Here's what we decided, or we think could happen with this angle, okay? He said, I'm talking about Snitsky or whatever the hell his name is.
Snitsky.
Hey, Snitsky. I'm sorry. He was going off saying, I was hired to do a job, and I did it. I think what they should do is bring Matt Hardy in and say Hardy paid this guy to have him basically kill the baby. And do a flip and have Kane be the face and Matt be the heel and Matt be this, evil maniac heel.
It's a different idea. It's interesting. It would breathe life to the storyline.
Well, what they're doing now doesn't seem to be getting over too well, or even if it is getting over, the internet certainly doesn't like it, so maybe the internet would like this.
Yeah. But then again, I mean, how long is it till Matt comes back?
Good point. But then you have time for Kane to just dispose of Snitsky. Snitsky. Wiener Schnitzel, whatever the hell his name is. I don't like this guy.
But,
even if that's his real name, you should create a gimmick name if that name is Snitsky.
I mean, people, they're talking about his name, so they may not know it, but they're talking about it, so it's working.
Okay.
There are worse names.
There were worse names, yes. I remember when Mark Jindrak came out that I thought that was a terrible gimmick name. And well, now he's the narcissist wannabe. So.
And speaking of Mark Jindrak, tune into SmackDown this week.
Yes, I've heard rumors that Hogan, Austin, and Foley are there.
Hogan, Austin, and Foley are involved with the show.
They're probably doing pre-taped interviews, right?
That is correct.
Mm.
And so is Stephanie McMahon.
Well, she's probably backstage while she does that one.
But she's also got a pre-taped interview. And of course, the returning Big Vis and Gangrel, which we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, Viscera, who was trying to get on the show and never seemed to happen.
Yeah.
And the big Gangrel.
Yeah, that's completely from
left field, right?
Left street.
That came out of nowhere.
Exactly, yeah. I was a little bit dubious when I heard that they had returned. I thought that someone had played a horrible trick on the website that I was reading the spoilers on. And then it was confirmed on different sites. And, it happened, and I must say it worked. It made me tune into SmackDown.
I've not tuned into SmackDown in a couple of months. I tried. I really did. But it just got so... It's just the feel of the show. It's not necessarily the matches or the guys there. It's just something about the feel of that show lacks the energy. And maybe they need a new set and something new, something to switch things up, because I don't know, whatever it is now just is not cutting it.
I enjoy it.
Okay, I just think Raw is clearly the #1 show in that company.
Oh yeah, but I think at the same time they prep people for that, and people know that nowadays.
Yeah.
Anyway, of course.
And they obviously, by the way, before you get to the big announcement, they obviously don't have all that much faith in the SmackDown product, in that they get a pay-per-view every other month, and Raw gets a pay-per-view every month.
Pretty much. Speaking of which, Taboo Tuesday.
Yeah, but that's a really bad name for a pay-per-view.
It's a bad name for pay-per-view, but what do you think of the idea?
If it's legitimate, that's great.
Yeah.
I just don't, you just know that you're not going to see certain things happen. Example, you're not going to see somebody vote to see, for example, Rosie challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, even if that's what the fans voted, which I doubt they would, but even if that's what the results ended up being, that Vince would probably say, no way. Well, yeah, it'll probably be like Randy Orton, Chris Benoit, or somebody, and they're going to say Randy won, and they're pushing him so he would win, even if it was legitimate. I mean, they're doing a good job trying to get him over, in that they're giving him wins over everybody. I mean, he was indestructible except for the clothesline, but he was indestructible in that 6-man tag, and he got the win, and he kind of called his shot, so.
Exactly, and it was, it did him well, so.
Yep.
But, yeah, so I think it's a good idea. I think it'd be interesting to see who does end up facing Mr. Jericho and Mr. Hell, probably. See who the fans decide they want to, put against them. But, these armchair bookers, who, think they know best.
Right.
And they got a chance to prove it.
Yep.
Get dialing, get, voting, get whatever. I haven't seen Raw, so I don't know how you're going to vote or whatever, but, do it.
Right.
Vote.
Well, the scary thing is that if the internet was running the show, Rey Mysterio Jr. would be the heavyweight champion. And And basically Mark Jindrak would be the #1 contender every week. I mean, they just don't get it. I'm sorry, guys. I know this is an internet radio show, but you guys just don't get it.
Well, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
If, people are booking it, internet are probably going to be a large majority of the people who are, going to make the voting happen, voting count. So, we'll see. If it is, Dean Snitsky against Triple H, then...
I will take your belt now.
Time to face me.
Right, okay. I'm going to give Ric Flair credit, and I never give him credit. I was laughing at it. I was laughing at his promo this week. He said, "We're that damn good." A great man just said that. And he said it like 5 times, like right in Triple H's face. And I don't know why, but something about it struck me funny. When he gets intense like that, he's entertaining. Unfortunately, he's not been that way in a long time. Of course, he still didn't bend for the crippler crossface whatsoever on Raw. But
the other, announcement on Raw: Eric Bischoff versus Eugene.
Eugene. Yes.
Everything he can vote on is their stipulation.
Can you?
Strange. Yep. Apparently, you can choose their stipulation. Apparently, as part of Taboo's Interactive Tuesday.
Wow. And by the way, I think they're stealing their gimmicks from us.
Yeah, they are, exactly. Interactive pay-per-view. Interactive, that's us.
Yeah.
Interactive interview. If they have an interactive interview on there, they're up for legal stuff,
Yeah, we're going to sue. Just letting you know, Vince, if you call anything on there the interactive interview, we're suing.
Exactly,
Yeah.
All about us.
Well, that'll really hold up in court.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I think, what is the chances that after Ric Flair's interview with us, he went over and said, Vince, got a great idea. Just did an interview. Interactive interview. Woo! What do you think? We do interactive pay-per-view. Woo! Vince? Rick? What the hell are you talking about? Woo!
I can picture it now. you remember that? Do you remember, it was on something, they had, Droz meeting with Vince McMahon for the first time.
Yes, yeah.
And I could just imagine Rick, in his office, sitting there going, woo! BT, ah!
Great, yes. Dropping elbows on the floor or something, I don't know.
The falls forward.
Yeah, he's doing that a little bit too much lately. He did it twice in the main event. I mean, like right after each other. He got up, he fell on the floor, he stood up, he got kicked in the head, and he did it again.
That was fun to watch.
Yeah. I used to love that when I was, he used to do the strut first.
Yeah.
Like, he used to, in the Royal Rumble, he got kicked in the head and did the strut all the way across the ring, and then went face first. I thought that was great.
See? We're showing positive Ric Flair moments.
Yeah.
It's a return of the nice chance.
Right.
Nice chance.
You sound like you're petting me right now.
I'm trying.
Oh. That's a little gay, man.
Yes, I'm a little gay man.
Speaking of that, how's the little gay man's wrestling promotion going to go this weekend?
Thanks for that. That's an interesting lead-in. IPW in Orpington, in Kent, in England, this Saturday. More information, www.ipwuk.com. People appearing on the show. Super Dragon from PWG. If you haven't seen him before, you will be impressed. That is a guarantee.
Super Dragon.
Johnny Storm.
That's not Bryan Danielson's Super Dragon, is it?
No, that's American Dragon.
Okay.
Although Bryan Danielson is, of course, an extremely good athlete.
Right.
And he is tagged with Super Dragon in PWG before.
I've not yet seen Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. I'd like to see it, though.
You should, definitely.
I've heard good things.
I will direct you to Super Dragon.
Okay.
And to the PW site, because I definitely recommend you purchasing some. It's
okay.
Very intense stuff. But, so that's, he's top of the bill.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, Johnny Storm, former guest of the show, one of the best in the UK. Zebra Kid, another one of the best in the UK. and a very special guest ring announcer.
Anybody I know?
It will be someone you know, yep.
Is his name Daniel Edler?
A very special guest. That would just be an amazingly special guest.
That'll just be, we couldn't find anybody else. So.
Yeah.
No.
A special guest who happens to be the guy promoting the show. We're sorry.
Well, that's like when Vince McMahon used to do the announcing.
Yeah.
You know, I used to think Vince was terrible, but now I realize how great he was. You know, 1, 2, you got him. Oh, no, it's only a 2 count. Every match. By the way, I just want to point this out. Ever since I was doing the woo thing, somebody outside my door keeps wooing. I don't know who it is. But it must be one of my parents, or somebody that's over the house, because they just keep walking by the door and going, woo!
Put the phone to the door, record it.
No, I don't think so. They'd kill me. Great.
Oh.
Okay. So, what's next?
TNA have moved to Tuesdays. They're no longer in Nashville.
What do you mean they moved to Tuesdays?
That's when they tape their...
Impact?
That is indeed when they tape Impact.
So it's not Thursdays anymore, they tape it on Tuesday.
No, they tape it on Tuesdays. I won't spoil this upcoming Friday show.
Is it a big one, though?
Pardon?
Is it a big event?
No, it's not particularly, but there's a nice main event, shall we say.
No big surprises, though?
Depends what you consider a surprise nowadays.
Well, the promos leading up to the show has been basically Jeff Jarrett saying, why don't you bring in an outsider? Or maybe I've beat you to the punch.
Unfortunately, no.
So, I mean, he's saying, what is he talking about? It sounds like he's talking about Scott Hall or Kevin Nash.
Well, apparently they've been in talks with TNA.
Right. Yeah, that'd be big to bring those guys in.
I mean, they've been in talks, so...
Unfortunately, I think their value is a lot less since they went back to Vince in 2002, but...
Possibly.
Yeah, if you didn't see them and you didn't...
Their faces are refreshed.
What?
Their faces are refreshed.
Somewhat. Somewhat so, but
yeah.
But I think that the fact that they were the big thing in WCW, and then they had that mediocre run in the WWE, I think that hurts them more than helps them.
Yeah. I don't know. Kevin Nash was on top for a lot of time.
Yeah, he had those matches with Triple H. The only embarrassing...
They weren't bad Kevin Nash matches either, to be fair.
What?
I mean, for Kevin Nash, they weren't bad matches.
Nash those matches get a bad rap. That Hell in the Cell match they had, or cage match, was it Hell?
It was Hell, yeah.
It was a...
It was Hell. It was Hell in the Cell. Yeah.
No, it was a good match. I thought it was really good. I mean, Nash doesn't bump, so he did everything he could to get that crowd involved, and, people on the internet doesn't seem to get that crowd reaction is everything, but he got the crowd reacting.
Yep, and, it won't go down as one of the best, Hell in a Cell matches ever, but...
No, but it was entertaining to watch.
Exactly. So, Kevin Nash got Hall, possibly to TNA. Apparently, Sean Waltman has now come out and said that if anyone's going to TNA, it's going to be all three of them.
Huh.
So, an interesting one there for Mr. Waltman.
Well, last time he showed up in TNA, he kind of seemed strung out to me. So I hope he's kicked that habit.
Well, apparently he's been to rehab, so...
We should give him a call.
We should. See how...
We told him once, and I think he was on the can, so... Remember that?
I do.
It was almost 2 years ago, I think. It's quite a long time ago.
I mean, people that we haven't spoken to in a while, haven't spoken to Buff Bagwell in a while, have we?
What's he up to?
I'm not really sure.
I don't understand why he doesn't try to get in there.
Yeah.
Unless he just didn't, there's some people that are just annoying, and maybe he's just annoying to people. I mean, I don't know him. He's been nice to me. I met him in person. He was really nice to me. He remembered us, but I guess, whatever.
Yeah. Well.
I had this idea. Tell me what you think.
Go.
All right. Shawn Michaels eventually gets out of this feud with Christian. No, actually, Christian they stay in this feud, and Jericho goes off on his own. So Michaels needs a tag team partner. They bring in Marty Jannetty, and they call themselves Creed, or the Christian Rockers. What do you think?
Interesting. Different. I reckon, a Marty and Shawn reunion would be something that people would want to see.
I think it would. I don't think it should be long term, but I think that they'd clearly get the tag belts because they never ever won the WWE tag titles.
I mean, like Fisher and Gangrel coming back. Some people have said, don't bring them back or whatever. If they're going to bring someone back, why them? That kind of thing. But at the same time, I'm sure they sat there and went, oh, because when they read or found out and watched, because some people don't read spoilers. When they found out and saw, Fisher and Gangrel come back as a surprise, I'm sure they went, oh, we're surprised. And it's probably a pleasant surprise because it wasn't something they knew about. So they won't be around for a long time.
Right. And when they're done, we'll try to grab them again.
And that'll make our interviews them even better.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we got the Stinger on the show. We got Sherry Martel coming up, as we said in the intro.
Exactly.
We have anybody else? Squire David Taylor.
We do too.
Yes. Who else? Anybody else? We've spoken with a couple other big guests. Nobody confirmed yet.
Right.
There's
Christy Hem cannot come on the show.
Yes.
WWE have crossed off her and basically told her no. She's not allowed. Which made me think she was going to win the Diva Search, to be honest. When she told us she couldn't do interviews. But it's a shame.
Do you think she knew beforehand?
I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed a tiny bit suspicious to me that they suddenly said to her, no, you can't do interviews. Just like,
The only way that I would think that they'd say that if she wasn't going to win is that maybe she was saying things bad about one of the other contestants and it just seemed bad.
Yeah.
I mean, which one was it? One of the women cut this promo on Carmelo saying, let's have a match tonight. And how stupid is that? You're not going to have a match. You guys don't know how to wrestle. And there's not enough time on the show to put you in the ring. So, I mean, maybe they were just saying stupid stuff like that in interviews and it just was bad.
Yes.
But it wasn't Christy that said that. I think it was Amy or Joy or somebody.
Yeah. And apparently Christy and Carmella actually got on together. Which is a surprise, because everybody else apparently disliked her.
Got along together? Oh, okay. They got along, okay. Yeah, that's odd, because everybody called her a bitch. So.
Apparently, of all the people that got on, they were the two. She was the one that didn't dislike her, apparently.
Right.
So that's why they always seem civil.
Well, you gotta assume too that, and this is an odd little tie-in, and then we're gonna stop talking about this Diva Search thing, hopefully for good. Is all the other girls immediately got jealous or angry with Carmella.
Yeah.
And Christy really didn't do so. And you had to figure that they were also looking for somebody that would be not prima donna-ish in the company. Example, if there's somebody they don't like, they'll have to learn to live with it.
Yeah.
Example, if I was working in the company and Flair was there, I'm not very well going to say, I don't like Flair, it's either him or me, because guess what? I'd be packed and get sent home. But regardless if I was more valuable or not, it'd just be bad professional activity, Yeah. So.
I agree. I mean, obviously, not everyone in the world's going to like each other.
Right. For everybody that you like, there's probably about 5 people that you'll dislike, so.
And then probably about 27 million that you don't know. So there might be more people that you might hate.
Yeah.
Around there. And hopefully, one day you'll meet them. And you can hate them and know them.
Absolutely. Every boy's dream is to finally meet that person that they all hate.
Yeah. That one true person that you can truly hate.
Yes. And
you can just want to throw off a building.
Absolutely. If only, man. If only.
So, I think that poignant moment is a good place to end.
Yes, I think it is. So, since this was kind of a Christian-related show, how about I play something from the greatest Christian metal band of all time, Stryper, How about to hell with the devil?
Well, that's all, folks. You have made it to the end of another video here on the Wrestling Epicenter channel. If you liked what you heard, please click the like button and leave a comment telling us what you think. And consider subscribing. It helps us more than you know. Thank you.